Whether you own a serger or wish you had a serger, with the Pfaff Quilt Ambition 2.0 sewing machine, it comes with an overlock foot, but it's adjustable. So let me show you how to use it and how do you know which stitch to select. So first off, if you're unsure which stitches are perfect for making the edges of your fabric stop unraveling, touch the top part and get the definitions of those stitches to come up. So anything that says overlock can be used for overcasting or overlocking the edge of the fabric. You'll probably want to try a couple just to see which one looks best on your fabric. Some of you will be using a thicker fabric, some a single layer, some you'll be overcasting after you sew the seams together, so then there's 2 layers that you're working on. Really just go ahead and find which one works best for you. So let's just start with this overlock stitch. Touch the I for information. That reminds you you need foot number 3. That foot is also an IDT foot, meaning it is open for that dual feed to get pulled down in the back, so don't forget to do that. Your feed dogs are up, tension is fairly normal, and the stitch width and length is kind of set for you. So you can start there with confidence that you're probably in a really good ballpark for settings. Let me show you one more thing before I put the foot on. So inside the foot, there is a small pin or piece of metal, and I like to, for example, adjust the red marker, the guide, because it can move left or right, to be right even in front of that pin. That way when I run the fabric right along that edge, when the needle jumps over that pin, it's perfectly set to run right along the edge of the fabric. So I don't even have to think about this much. Just go ahead and guide the fabric, which I'm all for making my life easier here. So let's just start with this stitch. I'm going to lower down the presser foot so my red mark is even with the edge of the fabric. As that needle jumps over the little pin, let me describe what it's doing. So if you've ever stitched on just a lightweight piece of fabric, maybe even just a zigzagging the edge, what happens is usually that fabric curls and gets tucked and then it doesn't lay nice and flat. Well, when the stitch is positioned and supported by that pin in the foot, this is why you don't just do it with a normal foot, it actually keeps the fabric nice and flat. So that's why I like to line up that mark with the pin. And the needle is just barely jumping over it. Let's take a look and see what it looks like here. And for this stitch, that looks great. I love how flat it is. It's overlocking the edges, so any fabric or threads that are going to continue to come apart, maybe as I wash something, is not going to come unravelly and become a tangled mess when I'm wearing it or using it. So keep in mind that any stitch that jumps off to the right of the fabric is a perfect solution. So if we go over here to some of the, like for a closed overlock, you see how it jumps over the edge, still picks that same foot for you. So closed overlock, stitch number 19, 20, 21. These are all excellent ways to use this machine for overlocking the edge. Next, I'm going to actually show you an overcast and hem or overcast and seam stitch, where we're actually going to sew multiple layers together, seam it, and overcast it in one pass. So take a look at that video as we do that next.